Hi, my name is Stephen, and rather than discuss the new firmware updates that we're seeing all over the internet for the GH5, the GH5S and the G9, I want to talk to you about some of the AF modes on the GH5 and how to get the best out of the system. I see a lot of videos out there that are focused on how the AF has changed and evolved, but little out there that show actually how to operate the system. The videos that I've seen are really good, particularly you can see some, for example, by Scott McKenna. He's done some excellent tests on all the firmware iterations since the cameras first came out. Scott's an entrepreneur. He's been documenting his own experience of setting up and running his own production company. His main cameras have been the GH5 and the GH5S for some time now, which he mainly uses for wedding videos. It's a great channel which Scott dedicates a lot of his free time to maintaining. I'll link his channel below. Panasonic have taken some serious heat for their AF system, some of it justified. Panasonic made a lot of claims with regards to the AF system, and to be honest, a lot of these claims were false. Take for example the face detect. It was a complete disaster. The system appeared to track movement of the face no problem with the bounding box on the screen, but the autofocus just didn't activate. The only mode that did seem to work was the single tracking point, but even then, only with some tuning. Now with the most recent evolution of firmware, the camera is really starting to show some promise. Now I know that the release note states very clearly what it's fixed, namely the tracking mode. However, there appears to be some gains in other areas as well, particularly with the face tracking. To get the most out of the camera, you really need to understand how the AF system works. On the GH5, the GH5S and the G9, they use a contrast-based focus system. Along with picking the right mode and customizing to get the most out of it, you can really get some quite good results. Some experimentation will help you get the most out of your camera. As stated earlier, Panasonic uses a contrast-based AF system. While contrast is good, particularly in low light and low contrast situations, it does have some weaknesses. Contrast detection AF works by analysing the pixels on the camera sensor. It operates on the basis that the subject is in focus when the contrast is at its highest level. To find that point, it has to push forward the focusing point beyond the actual point of focus. This helps it determine the highest area of contrast, and then it comes back again. And this is why you get this rather unattractive pulsing effect. You find that it's very obvious around sources of light. A lot of people complain that they see it around the areas where they have these fairy lights that you see in the background. Understand that the camera uses algorithms, preloaded images of faces. Hence, if you stick your hand in front of the camera or stick a product or a lens in front of it, you may find it doesn't operate as it expects. So you can see there the bounding box is disappearing. It is managing to focus on the camera, but sometimes around the lights you'll see that it can hunt and then back in the face. Of course you can always resort to extreme measures by, if you want, sticking a face on the product. You can see now that the bounding box has gone round thinking that there's a face there, even though it's a lens with a face on it, and it's found the face quite quickly. The Panasonic G9 actually takes face detect to a different level. It allows you to load face images of you, your family, within the camera to improve the camera algorithms. So, facial recognition. As described earlier, the camera with inbuilt artificial intelligence recognizes a face. It will attempt to track this. In addition, it has two user customizable modes used to enhance the function. Those two modes are the sensitivity and the speed. There's a lot of confusion around what these two settings do, so I'll explain here. Speed. This sets how fast the AF will react. So for example, a higher positive value means that the camera will be more reactive to changes in the subject position. Set too high, the AF may overreact, and set too low, the AF may be slow to respond. Sensitivity. This is how sensitive the camera is to changes in the field of view. Even if the dominant subject in the frame remains unchanged, the high sensitivity will result in the camera being more reactive, while the lower sensitivity, the camera will remain locked onto the subject. So here I'm going to demonstrate some different values here, but you need to experiment with your lenses, your environment in order to get the best settings for you. A recommended setting that I'm going to demonstrate here might behave completely different on your camera, so please try it out. So if we go into the menu of the camera, you can see here that we have AF custom setting video. So for the purpose of this demonstration, I had the AF speed and the AF sensitivity set at -3. You can see here for the speed it goes for slow reaction to fast, and then the sensitivity is locked on the subject or responsive. So in this case here, let's keep it the same. We'll keep it on the face tracking, but we'll put the responsivity up to the highest extreme level. Now let's try it to see what it's like. Put the camera back on. So now you can see it's focusing on the face quite well, but what you can see there is that there's more pulsing on the light here. This is because the camera is now more sensitive to changes, and in particular if I have small changes back and forward. Contrast, the text system is going to keep moving forward past the point of focus and then back again to where it feels the focus is. You're going to get this jitter type effect on the background there. So we could change that back to where we were. So we go back into the menu, click on sensitivity and move it back to locked on at -3, set, back on. So now it's going to be less susceptible to change. It might not react as quickly, certainly if I move position, but for this type of function it's fine. And what you'll find here is that the pulsing in the background, particularly along these strips of lights here, it's less noticeable. However, if I stick my hand in, it may or may not focus on it. And you can see in this case here, it still thinks the face is the most dominant subject, so it's focusing on the face. If I move it over the bounding box, it may focus, which there it has. So how do we get around that? So let's try a different focusing mode that's probably more suitable for what we're trying to do. So go into your Q menu, and here we have all the different modes. I wouldn't particularly select the tracking mode unless you're doing something like sports or children running around in the park. That mode there is really meant for tracking of subjects. You have some other options here, the 225 autofocus positions, you have the custom AF, and you have the single point. But here I'm going to try the custom, and I'm going to select the AF area, and here I've done the central band. We'll hit set on that, and then we'll try it. So you can see it's still focused quite well on my face. It's also, there's not much pulsing on the lights in the background here. But let's say I take something that we want to focus on. Take the lens, for example, that we used before. You can see there it's grabbed focus fairly quickly, and if we come away, it's focusing back on the face. So you can see just by altering the focus modes to get the most out of the camera, you can get perfectly functioning autofocus within the GH5. And again, it's focused back on the face. And you can see the pulsing again is within the acceptable limits. So hopefully this video has been useful, and it's been slightly different from the videos on autofocus for the GH5 out there. If you have any questions that I haven't answered in this video, leave them in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks for watching.